Welcome everybody to the North Carolina Jaycee Burn Center. I really am sorry that you can't be here in person today. The committee had asked if we would do a session to give a virtual tour of the Burn Center. I realize that many of you have been here before, but maybe even more of you have not been here to tour the Burn Center, and please know you have an open invitation. I'm Anita Fields. I'm a nurse here at the Burn Center, and my current position is that I'm the Director of Aftercare. Burn Aftercare focuses on the emotional and psychosocial recovery of burn patients. We'll talk a little bit more about that later in the session, but just to tell you a little bit about what we're going to go over today is that we want to give you a tour of the Burn Center. But before that, I want you to get to meet our physician team here at the Burn Center, Dr. Booker King, Dr. Felicia Williams, and Dr. Rabia Nizamani. They are going to introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about why they even wanted to go into burns as a focus of their surgery that they practice. Before we really give you the tour for the Burn Center, I would be remiss if I did not tell you how the Burn Center got started. And if you were here in person, we would start this tour by saying the Burn Center is today because of one special man.
My name is John Stackhouse, and I started Stackhouse Incorporated. It started because I'm in the power line business. Electrical burns are the hardest of all burns to treat.
I want to walk through this doorway. I want to open my mind. I want to pledge my allegiance to all I can find. I want a car that will crash through the barrier to a road no one knows. I want to feel less control.
He had a number of employees who were injured on the job, and because of that required specialized care that could not be found anywhere in North Carolina. So Mr. Stackhouse made it his mission to try to get care for his employees. So one example that he gives along the way is that he had someone who was injured on the job, high volt electrical injury, and he could not even find anybody to even have dressings to put on him. So he was really on a mission. As a part of that mission, he went all over the United States to every existing burn center at the time, and he researched what was necessary to really have the best burn center. And what he found out was that to have a great burn center, you had to have a multidisciplinary team that focused on the care and the needs of those individuals who have suffered burn injuries. With that, he made a proposal. He went to every major hospital in North Carolina and he got turned down. He finally was able to convince by playing his cards right, and there's a lot of story that goes to that, but with fear of getting it wrong, I won't go into all the details, but he also had to finesse a lot of political bigwigs. So he will tell you that his biggest challenges in bringing a burn center to North Carolina were the big dogs and the physicians. So he finally was able to contact the right people, do the right thing, and he even offered a huge donation of money to be able to have the burn center built at the University of North Carolina. So once he got through all the red tape, that kind of thing, he got the go-ahead to do that, and the appropriations from the legislature appropriated $2 million to build the burn center. However, they only would give it in installments, so they gave him $1.5 million to begin with and said if he would come back in 2 years, they would give him the other $500,000. So they started the burn center. Mr. Stackhouse at the time also encouraged other entities outside the burn center or outside the legislature or North Carolina and the hospital to raise money because this was going to be the People's Burn Center, the citizens of North Carolina. So a number of different organizations raised money, one of which was the North Carolina Jaycees. And Mr. Stackhouse tells a great story about going to a Jaycee meeting, and they were starting this whole fundraiser with jam and that kind of thing. And so they had planned for him to buy the first jar of jelly for $1. Well, he didn't have $1. So unbeknownst to them, he had earlier decided he was going to give them a check for $10,000. So all he had in his pocket was that check for $10,000. So during this presentation of them supposedly giving him the first jar, or selling him the first jar of jelly for $1, then he realized he didn't have $1, and they said, well, you got to give us something. So he pulls the check out, which is a folded piece of paper, and gives it to him. And so the Jaycee president sticks it in his pocket. So later somebody asked him, so where's that piece of paper John Stackhouse gave you? And he said, or where's the $1? He said, well, it wasn't $1, it's just a piece of paper. So he pulls that check out, and he had written the check for $10,000. We happen to have that jar of jelly. The first jar ever sold as a fundraiser to the North Carolina Jaycee Burn Center was this jar. And it says on it $10,000, and it was bought by John Stackhouse in the 70s. So I won't be opening this jar. But anyway, as a result of that, they never had to get the second installment of the money because they had raised more than enough money not only to build the burn center, but to create an endowment so that we could provide the kind of care to burn survivors, realizing that it would need a whole lot more than what the hospital might provide. So the North Carolina Jaycee Burn Center exists today because of the efforts of this one man. John Stackhouse was a humble man. I'm very proud to say that he was my friend. He was someone who not only gave money to the burn center, but he came and visited the burn center, and he advocated for the burn center until his death just a couple of years ago, which he was over 100 years old when he died. But I'm just very thankful that I had the opportunity to meet him. So now to give you a little bit of information about who they are, I want to introduce Dr. King, Dr. Williams, and Dr. Nizamani, who will tell you a little bit about themselves, and then Dr. King will give you a physical tour going through the burn center. I hope you enjoy it.
Dr. Terry King. I am the director of the Jaycee Burn Center and the division chief for burn surgery.
My name is Felicia Williams. I'm the medical director of the Burn Intensive Care Unit, and I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Surgery.
I'm Rabia Nizamani. I'm a burn surgeon, and I am an assistant professor of surgery here at UNC. I'm also the service line leader for the Division of Burn Surgery.
A burn surgeon is somebody trained in trauma, critical care, and acute resurfacing of burn injury.
It could be some of the sickest patients that you ever meet or that you ever take care of. I mean, the skin is one of the most important parts of the body. We don't even think of it as an organ, but it is. And when that skin is lost, that puts us at risk for infection and all kinds of things. And to take a severely burned patient, you know, when they initially come in to the point where they can leave, takes a lot of resources, is very multidisciplinary in terms of the amount of care that's given, and just the family, you know, being able to go through that for weeks and months on end. So it's probably one of the most complicated areas in medicine, I would say, in my opinion. I think burn is unique in that it requires a team. And most things in medicine do require a team, but burn is an obligation. You have to have a team. It's not only something that's nice, but it's something that's necessary. And when that team comes together to make that patient better, it's no better feeling than see that patient, leave the hospital after being here for several months, and knowing that the team is because of the team effort that happens.
Chapel Hill has the largest academic burn center in the country, and the busiest. And I think that in academic medicine, we have the ability to research all that we do and use evidence-based medicine to improve the field of not just burn surgery, but medicine in general. And that is inspired in an academic burn center. And that's the only way to truly make a difference, not just for our patients here in North Carolina, but for the rest of the world, is to truly define what burn surgery is, what medicine is, and be a part of that team.
I chose UNC because we are one of the busiest burn centers in the country. To me, one of the best places as a surgeon, as an academic, to come and learn. You learn by doing, and the more that you can do, the more that you learn. At the same time, the mission is very focused on the people of the state and what we can do for the people of the state. We have resources that many other burn centers don't have. We have support that many other burn centers don't have. And that means that we can just do so much more for our patients. We don't just admit somebody, take care of them, and then send them off on their merry way. We have programs, we have support for them long after they actually leave the hospital. I want my patients to know that the care that I would want for my own family member is the care that I would give to them or to their loved one. I've had family members in medical situations, and I know how scary that can be. I do my best to make sure that I understand what my patients understand, and that I get them to the point where they can understand and trust in what I'm doing. What I love about doing burn surgery is that I can really have an impact on somebody for the rest of their lives. But in that moment, when they're here, when they're suffering, burn surgery is so much more than just providing treatment to a patient. You're really caring for them and for their family. And care goes beyond the medical treatment. It goes beyond any medication, any operation, anything that we do to somebody while they're in the hospital. We say in the burn center, we say that you really become family. And that's so true. I see it time and again. Our patients and their families become our family.
Community has been instrumental. You look at the history of this burn center, it was really developed because the community saw a need for a burn center in this part of the state. And the communities have been continually supportive of us in terms of fundraising and so forth. Without the community, we wouldn't really be here. So, we depend on the community each year to be able to do the things that we do.
Hi, I'm very glad that you're going to be able to tour the burn center today. Dr. King is actually going to take you on the tour, and I apologize that we have to wear our mask and our eyewear, but as you are all aware, it's a part of the time and it's part of the rule of working in the hospital right now. So one of the unique things about our burn center is that we treat adults and children, patients of all ages. So Dr. King has talked about the burn team a little bit before, but that is one of the things that makes our burn center so special. We're sort of like a little hospital within the big hospital, and that we have our own doctors, our own nurses, our own advanced practice providers. We have our own dietitian, we have our own therapist, everyone that's assigned specifically to the burn service. We really look forward to the time when you can come back and be here in person and really see firsthand everything that we do here at the Burn Center. Thank you so much for your support, and I hope you enjoy the tour.
Hello, Booker King again, Director of the Burn Center. We apologize. We would like to take you on a real tour, in-person tour of the Burn Center, but unfortunately because of COVID-19, we're not able to do that. So now we're going to do a virtual tour of our Burn Center. is just going to walk down the hall here and kind of show you the flow of things, the way the patient would be moving into our burn center. A lot of patients get seen downstairs in the emergency department and then get brought up here in these elevators to our burn center. Now we are entering the burn center. And as you can see, it's a busy place, a lot of equipment. So just to kind of orient you, we are one of 2 burn centers in the state of North Carolina. We have 36 beds, with 21 of those beds here in our burn intensive care unit, and 15 beds on the 5 East burn ward. You'll get to see both places and see, hopefully meet some staff along the way. Now we're moving through the burn center. And as you can see, we're always busy, always taking care of our patients. The patients in this area are the most critical. Most of them are real critical status to step down status. And the patients who are more stable will be on our wards. Here's our central nursing station. You can see that our nurses are hard at work here. So we have 21 beds here that are all ICU compatible. We can take care of a wide range of critical patients with burns. We also take care of children. Children can be taken care of here or in the children's hospital as deemed appropriate. Beyond this door here, we have our elevator that goes directly to the operating room, and we can transport critical patients directly in and out of the operating room and ensure that they arrive here safely. We have around the corner here, we have a host of specialty equipment used for ultrasound for putting lines in, or bronchoscopy as well. So we're able to do all these invasive procedures. It's our clean supply here. So all our rooms are private with the exception of the 2 rooms on either end. And these are semi-private can hold two persons. And you guys want to say hello? Yeah, just let us know who you introduce yourself.
I'm Tiffany. I'm one of the nurses here on VICU.
And I'm Ariel. I'm one of the nurses as well.
Alrighty. Yeah, I'd just like to highlight, we would not be able to do anything without the strong work of our very capable nurses. They really are the foundation of the burn center. These are our advanced practice nurses, Ashley and Eli. And their job is to act as providers here. We have 3 burn surgeons, myself, Dr. Williams, and Dr. Nezamani, and several advanced practice nurse and PAs, which cover our burn intensive care unit as well as the ward. So this is Monica. She's one of our main social workers, case managers. She coordinates the discharge planning of these patients, which in a lot of cases is a very, very difficult job. And she manages a lot of the issues that the families and the patients may have. So Thank her for strong work. She's been here how long?
13 years.
13 years, okay.
Thank you, Dr. King, and thank you so much for all your support.
Now we're about to see our tank room. We walk in here. We basically have two areas that we for our tank room. Is the first area, and here this is incredibly important because this is where our patients come first to be stabilized, get their wounds addressed, and this is where we make an assessment of how badly they're burned. All patients will come to here unless they are really unstable or unless they're very hypothermic, in which case we'll do their care at the bedside. Notice here we have all the monitoring equipment, ventilators, and everything to support a critical patient. And we have a great nursing staff, as you see here, that helps with this process. And here, most of the patients are on these gurneys, and we use these shower heads here to help wash them and wash off all the debris and loose skin and put their dressings on. Also in this area, we also may look in their airway with the bronchoscopy to see if they have airway burns. Also put in invasive IVs and lines and so forth. So a lot of initial work is done here in our tank room. When patients become stronger and able to participate more in their care, we'll bring them here to the shower chair, and we'll do a lot of their wound care here. This gives them obviously a little more independence when you compare it to the gurney. We have two areas in our tank room. There's obviously one, and here's the second. And here you can see the gurney fully exposed. And the patient will come here and we wash patients up, wash the patient and drain here. It'll drain the water away from the gurney system. And it's also equipped with monitors and a portable ventilator that can come in here and support the patient if they need it. I have our own occupational therapy.
I'm Heather, I'm one of the occupational therapists here in the Burn Center. I am one of the clinical specialists. I have a team of 6 therapists, and we work every day to treat our burn patients. We treat children as well to adults. Occupational therapy is a key role with the burn patient in order to make sure that we can maintain range of motion, as Keith from physical therapy mentioned, as well as to return back to their independence and ADLs. This is our OT gym. This is where we can make custom compression garments as well as our splints. We use a lot of orthoplastic materials for splinting patients who have gone to the operating room to protect their skin grafts after surgery. We also work on range of motion as well as scar management. So a lot of times we'll bring our patients over to a mat here in the gym, and we'll work on having them lay down and work on any upper body, face, neck, range of motion. Physical therapy will do more with the ambulation and walking, but we work on more of the upper extremities. Some examples of some of the splints that we discussed are, for example, we have hand splints that will custom fit a hand in a good position to provide contracture. We do legs, everything. And so we also, let me show you the sewing room real quick here. I mentioned compression garments. We do compression garment therapy for anybody that's had a burn to help with vascular support. So a lot of times they'll have a lot of edema and swelling. They'll have a lot of vascular symptoms like itching, tingling, throbbing. So we need to make vascular compression garments to prevent that. And here is our very old serger, probably about 30 plus years. Very reliable though. So we'll make little compression garments for babies to fit their hands and arms to all different sizes, to adults as well too. So these are custom for a little bit like a 10 to 15 mercury pressure. They'll eventually go up to a tighter compression garment, which we have stock in that as well in a different part of the hospital. those on our sleeves. So this is our sewing area. We use this daily on a regular basis, probably about 20 times a day. So it's very, very busy. Down in our burn clinic, we also follow our patients down there as an outpatient service. So any patients that may have had a new burn, as well as patients who are return burn survivors who have been here for months to years to come. And then we also follow them through the reconstructive phase, so we'll help them with the scar management with that aspect, as well as any laser treatments that they may be getting will help continue with that process to regain range of motion.
You just seen the occupational therapy gym. Now we're going to show you the physical therapy gym.
Hello, I'm Keith, and on behalf of the 4 other physical therapists who work here, I'd like to welcome you to the PT gym. This is where we do a lot of our work with patients who are able to leave their room. If patients can't leave their room and come down here to work out in the gym, we'll work with them bedside and we'll work with them in the hallway. We spend most of our time with our burn injured patients working on range of motion. As skin heals, it can certainly get tight. If we do a good job of positioning patients, stretching them during the day, keeping their arms in a good position overnight, then we should be able to get folks back to having their full range of motion. Without those interventions, it's very easy to get very tight very quick. The other thing that we work with patients on is getting up and walking. So we have a lot of support here from the rest of our staff to get our folks up very early in the PT process. So sometimes even on the very day that you're admitted, we'll go on in after being here for maybe even an hour or two, get folks up and do some walking around. One of the biggest benefits to walking around is not only being able to breathe better and get out of the hospital faster, but helps keep your strength up. And to help us do that, we do many things, but one of the most important things is to get sneakers on. If you can believe it, it makes a big difference when you're getting up and try to walk on these hard floors around here, if you have a pair of sneakers on. So we'll put ACE wraps on folks' feet, and because of the very generous donation from a lot of the firefighting associations across the groups across North Carolina, we've got usually a very steady supply of sneakers. And once we get up and do some walking around, patients are really grateful. They are very thankful to have those shoes on. It makes walking a lot easier. It gives you a lot more stability when you're trying to walk around, and it's more comfortable. So thanks a ton for getting those sneakers to us so that we can get them to our patients. The other thing we spend a lot of time working on is doing exercises that you can do not only in the hospital, but when you leave to go home. One of our really common exercises is using pulleys. This is something that can help get warmed up, and it's also something you can go home with. So patients may sit here, do a good bit of stretching, and then when they go home, again, because of your generous donations, our folks who can't afford or don't have a set of pulleys at home, we're able to issue these to them. This helps them kind of continue keeping the range of motion that they were able to gain here in the hospital. And finally, we do a lot of stretching at this wall ladder, which is great for us here, but again, not something that most folks can do at home. However, because of your donations, we've been able to buy a lot of pull-up bars. Patients can take these pull-up bars home and really easily hook them in over their door frame and do a lot of great stretching. So thanks again for all the way that you guys actively participate with us in helping our patients not only get better and go home, but stay home and stay in great shape. Hopefully in the real near future, we'll be able to give you a personal tour around here and you'll get to see some stuff in real life and ask questions as well. But if you have any questions in the meantime, don't hesitate to email us at physical therapy here at the Burn Center. Thank you.
Our acute burn ward. Here we have 15 beds dedicated for burn patients. The purpose is either patients with not so high acuity of burn or patients transitioning from the burn ICU that are going to transition hopefully at some point to be discharged. This is our 5E nursing staff.
This is them.
Okay.
Hey! How's it going? Welcome to 5Es.
All right.
Never on our phones.
Yeah. And our nursing staff here on 5Es are very good at getting the patient to the point, in a lot of cases in which they were not doing too much in terms of activity in the BICU, to transition them to getting home. And we have several cases of that with patients with very large burns that have transitioned, and they help get them home to their families. as a donation from Duke Energy Partners. This is a very important area because a lot of our patients stay for a long period of time, and this is they're often here visiting their loved ones for weeks and months on end. So, very important area for us. As you see here, walk in here, we see a whole host of equipment, refrigerator, coffee maker, microwave. This is all donated by the firefighters. And you can see here, we try to keep the families as comfortable as possible. And have a lot of space because multiple families will be visiting. Here's our display wall, and you see here represented all the fire stations in the area, and pretty much around the state. We're very proud of the support that they give to the Burn Center. Next, we're going to see our recreation room, and this is for all ages. And you can see a variety of equipment for patients to play with, but also it helps them develop their fine motor skills. And here we have an interactive floor, in which we can have patients with things are displayed here, and they can interact and dance or whatever they have to do, and that helps with their lower body motion, walking and balance.
The Burn Center's outpatient clinic is part of the multidisciplinary surgery clinic on the first floor of the Memorial Hospital building. It's open 5 days a week and averages a little more than 5,000 patient visits per year. The clinic sees burn patients who are never admitted to the Burn Center and provides follow-up care to patients who have been discharged. Advanced practice providers run this clinic, and various team members see patients as well. Occupational and physical therapists make sure patients have been compliant with their home therapy programs and maintaining an increasing range of motion and physical functioning. The aftercare coordinators and chaplain follow up to assess how patients are dealing with their burns emotionally and psychologically, providing support as needed. A nurse educator is available to address concerns or issues after discharge so that patients and families have direct access to the medical team once they are home. The team also includes a dietitian, recreation and child life specialist, respiratory therapist, among others. I want to introduce you to someone who I think will be valuable to all of you throughout the state. As you know, for those of you who have done education with us in the past, we had a long-term employee here named Ernest Grant, who sort of put the Burn Center on the map as far as prevention and burn education. And we're happy to say that we have filled that position, and I want to introduce you to Derek Miller, who is our new education outreach specialist. And Derek is going to be with us in the same capacity that Ernie was. So as you can see, he's moved in, he's ready to go. We'll have his contact information at the end of the session. I know that many of you have contributed to support for burn patients, both here at the North Carolina Jaycee Burn Center and in Winston-Salem at the Baptist Burn Center. I can't begin to tell you how helpful it is, but also how absolutely necessary it has been in enabling us to really support patients in a way that people don't really think of. So we're really appreciative of the toys and things that you send. That's always helpful with children, and everybody loves helping the children. But we also have adults who have particular needs. So at Christmas time, it's not unusual for us to have a wish list and to send out items that we feel like we can use for patients, one of which you saw earlier, Keith in physical therapy talking about the shoes and the grab bars and the pulleys. We also have some donations that come to provide some protected hats for patients. This year we had a particularly high number of homeless patients or people who had lost their homes in house fires. So we realized that one of the things we could do to help those patients was to actually buy them some basic necessities. So what we're doing now is putting together bags of things for patients when they go home. So we have a toiletry bag that includes soap and shampoo, toothbrush, just the basic toiletry items. Given our current situation, we felt like it would be helpful to have Clorox wipes or whatever so they can be safe, as well as masks to be able to use in the community. We have some leftover towels from our camp, so we give them a towel. We also add socks and a blanket, a flashlight. This is just one t-shirt, but what I also do is go shopping and get the appropriate clothing sizes for the patients, and I buy them a couple of sets of clothes to be able to wear outside. If it's the winter time, I'll also include a coat. But all of those things are possible because of the donations that you make to us, both in items, in the toiletry kit. We include the combs and the different items that you send us from our Christmas list. There's a number of ways that you contribute in all of the different programs that we're able to offer. To close out our session, this past year was really difficult for everybody, and it was particularly for aftercare. What happened in aftercare was all of our events that we have, which included a retreat, Camp Celebrate, teen camp, family camp, and our reunion, which is in November. We had to cancel all those things. So we were able to, because we already had a weekend on the books in September, we were able to offer a one-day Camp Celebrate. And we just want to share the success of that one day with you. And I want to personally thank everybody who contributed to the effort in any way. Some of you sent cards for Domino's. We normally have a big family picnic and we couldn't have that, so we provided a family meal for each of the families of the campers who came. Some of you provided string bags and water bottles, sunscreen, contributed money to help with us getting t-shirts, all those different kinds of things, towels, all those different items. But even more than that, so many of you gave also of your time. So we'd like to close out our session today with a video of Camp Celebrate Day Camp 2020. And as you watch the video, look at the smiles on the kids' faces, look at the smiles on our faces. I think it meant even more to me than to the kids, but having spoken to every family at the end of the day, I wish I could convey to you the sincerity and the gratitude that they offered in thanking us for being able to put on this one-day camp. We could not do what we do without you, and we are proud to share in partnership for education, prevention, and the support of the survivors that we treat here at the Burn Center. Thank you for all you do, and I hope you enjoy the video.
Celebrate, you know, my burn anniversary every year, and it really makes me think because in so many ways it's more important to me than my birthday. Because I mean, it really is my second chance.